It's the Locked On Flyers podcast for Monday, August 12th, your daily dose of Flyers news, analysis, and high quality content that is wondering if the Flyers need to break the mold a little bit with their branding.
It's a good idea.
Your Locked On Flyers, your daily podcast on the Philadelphia Flyers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, and thanks for making Locked On Flyers your first listen every day. I am Rachel Donner. You can find me on Twitter at rmiriam. I'm here as always with Russ Cohen, who's on all your favorite social media apps at Sportsology. We are at Locked On Flyers on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit fanduel.com/locked on to get started. You can find us over on YouTube or on the SiriusXM app or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to get our latest episode as soon as it's available here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is still part of our August programming schedule, which shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. And Flyers have been taking their summer to do some really good work around the community, and that's kind of tied into this branding discussion. We're going to talk about like the physical branding and merchandise on this show, but I think like one thing that this management group has done is really taken an opportunity to increase their footprint in the community and up their kind of emotional brand, if you would say. This off season, they've been renovating some community rinks or contributing to the renovation of these rinks. There was a big one in New Hanover Township recently where there was a rink that was supposed to get turned into pickleball that some community people got together and said, no, we want to keep it hockey. And then the Flyers are contributing to the renovations. And then, there's another one coming up, right?
Yeah, there's one in Forsythia. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Crossing Park, and that's coming up on this Tuesday. And the Flyers are refreshing a neighborhood rink there. They're gonna have various people from the team there. Gritty's gonna be there. They're putting LED lights there for an outdoor rink, and it looks like a deck or a roller hockey kind of rink. So that sounds like a fun time. Check your local listings for that.
So that's been a really good thing that the Flyers have been up to this offseason, off the ice. On the ice, we had talked recently about, I think it was a mailbag question in terms of signing a veteran to a PTO and what that might look like here. And there's an interesting newer option out there that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who was with the Flyers at one time, and I think he's from France. Was a long shot to ever make the NHL. Made the NHL. He ended up winning a Stanley Cup with Vegas, and he now is without a contract. So he spoke to somebody from the Hockey News. Sorry, I forget the person's name right this moment, but you could search the article, and said that he wants to kind of give it one more go. And it made me think, this is one of the good guys in hockey. Like, there was a kid who contacted me and said he wanted to be a reporter, and said, do you think you could set up an interview with a Flyer for me? And I went to Zach Hill and I said, can we get somebody? And I think he's the one who suggested Pierre. And so I got on a phone call with Pierre and the kid interviewed him for like 20 minutes, and presumably wrote an article about it for school. And I was just like, wow, what a great thing to do. This, we don't know. This kid could be like a nice, future journalist. And he did something like that for him. He's just a great guy, great teammate. Maybe the Flyers don't want him, but some teams should want him. He's a great addition to the locker room. Give him a PTO. I would definitely have him in there.
Yeah, I feel like he would fit in this crew.
He would,
like, really well. So I think it's worth a shot. Again, it's just a PTO. You don't have to guarantee anything. So I would love to have him back around.
Well, I think he'd be great for everybody, but I could see why if they didn't take him, saying, all right, well, look, we have enough of guys that play that position. But the Flyers did give him his start. It would be cool if they gave him another chance.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. So looking at this whole Flyers merchandise branding thing, I think, one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this was because I've been pretty frustrated with merchandise around the NHL. It's so templated these
Yes.
days. Even, you get your more creative branding, like, they've folded in some other companies into the official branding over the years, but it's the same designs with different team colors for the most part. And I don't think hockey has had a strong individualist like kind of looks with different teams. And the Flyers do have some sort of advantage. I know we'll talk about what other teams can do as well, but like the Flyers have first and foremost gritty, which is
Hmm.
a separate brand in and of itself. And there's some
Hmm.
similarities to what the Phillies do with the Philly Fanatic there, which is also very good. With those iconic hats and stuff like that. The good and bad of it is that they have this incredible classic look that just hasn't changed over the years. And that can be a good or bad thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing mostly because it's a constant. I don't mind that, and I don't think that's an issue because look, they're not an original 16, but they're that next grouping of important teams, and I would just say that staying the same kind of makes you more iconic and classic than if you've just messed around with 100. Like I don't know, like we'll mention the Sabres later because they have some good
Right.
ones and bad ones over the years.
Yeah, and they do have the Broad Street Bullies era kind of branding as well as part of like the different looks that the Flyers can present, but they haven't really gone outside the box much outside of that. I know there was like Legion of Doom branding for a little bit of when that was relevant, but Broad Street Bullies is like really the one that has stuck beyond its era, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one, that everybody knows, and then I'm sure and although New Era of Orange, are they selling those? I mean
I don't know. I
I
mean, they may have done like one shirt or like
right,
one poster or something.
right, to me, they haven't taken advantage of that enough, and then, my whole thing is and again, I don't know what the contract is with Fanatics, so I'll just say use this as a giveaway, but as a giveaway, whatever your team motto is for the year that they come up with in the locker room that sometimes the players wear, that should be your giveaway for day 1, game 1, the
Yeah.
first home game, and I don't think they've done that in a while or ever, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think they have where they've done like the schedule t-shirt or something that matches that branding and has
Okay.
like
So
that
but it's been a
saying on
while
the
then.
front.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something then bring that back. That's an effective thing that gets everybody connected to the team right away. Like this is the
Yeah,
mission
either a
statement.
schedule magnet or a schedule t-shirt. We love those. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but we
Yep.
love those a
Yep.
lot.
We're all used to
Um,
them. That's why.
Yeah, you brought up original six branding, and I have said over and over again that it is a marketing construct and it's not a real thing, which is true, but it sells. That's the thing. It's like a made
It
up
does.
marketing construct, but it sells. And to me, I think that, you take the first expansion group of teams and turn that into something which will show the ridiculousness of the original six in some ways, but also that could be a fun thing, honestly. The first expansion group and turn that into like its
Yeah, I
own
think there's something
little
there. I do. I think there's something there. You got to come up with a nice catchphrase, which we're not going to be able to do on the fly here.
yeah.
But I do think there's something to that.
Yeah, I just think that would be fun and different that we haven't seen before. And then, you mentioned the Sabres. Amongst the other teams, I think, there are a few teams that have some unique branding opportunities that the Flyers just don't have because they haven't changed that classic look. So the Sabres have had like three or four different primary looks over the years. The Buffa Slug and,
The slug is the worst. Yeah.
oh, and the swords cross like they have just gone like from one extreme to the other, and I don't think anything has hit quite right except for the classic just straight up buffalo with the swords, and that's it.
Yeah, that's that one. Yeah, that one hit just right on the classic. But it's okay to take the swings. It is because sometimes fans will even hold on to the really what I would call fugly jerseys.
Yeah, that's true. But then you have really nice ones that are very different, like the
Yeah.
Kachina from the RIP Arizona Coyotes
Yes.
/ Phoenix Coyotes.
That was cool.
That's a third look that became a primary look, right?
Yeah. The Rangers had Statue of
The
Liberty.
Liberty,
Yeah, that was
The Isles Fisherman, I think goes
which
into the
now is
ugly.
sort of beloved, and I think it's awful, and
I
especially
love
living on the
it.
island,
I
I
love it.
yeah, so people like the Gordon's Fisherman now in retrospect.
Yeah, they really do. But I think, in terms of unique branding, aside from that, really the only thing that teams have been able to do, you know, within the confines of the game experience in particular are the specialty night jerseys, where there are some teams that have taken advantage of having either like local artists from the community
Mhm.
or, hired outside designers. Like the Canucks have been really good in terms of their specialty night jerseys. They get somebody from the Chinese community for the Chinese New Year jersey, and the First Nations community. Like they have all these like in community designers that make specialty night jerseys for them. That's really good. And the Flyers really haven't done anything.
No, and there's a wall, and I don't know if this is the wall that they always talk about, but there's one I think near the Philly Zoo that always has like amazing graffiti on it and stuff. And get one of those people to do a jersey, like show them doing it
Yeah.
live at the game, like they had gritty painting at the game. This would be better because this person has talent, and and then sell it after, like work out
Yeah.
a deal, like that would be great. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, there's opportunities there that maybe the Flyers haven't taken advantage of, and there's some more of those opportunities, which sometimes the Flyers are good with and sometimes not. We're going to talk about some sort of reactionary branding that the Flyers and other teams have done, as well as fan designs, which kind of lead to these specialty jersey opportunities. We're going to do that coming up next.
I love sports. I love them so much I never want them to stop, and now we're in full swing for summer sports like baseball. We absolutely miss hockey, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. FanDuel has odds for Major League Baseball, the WNBA, soccer, and so much more. I'd say don't bet on the Phillies or the Mets right now. They both stink lately. So head over to fanduel.com/lockdown and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Thanks for making Locked On Flyers your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NHL podcast. Locked On NHL provides you with a national perspective on all things NHL each and every day, with national experts and local insight on every team in the league. You can find me there each and every Friday, available on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I'm going to refer to that Locked On NHL a little bit later in the show when we talk about our nemesis. So stay tuned for that. We'll be answering your mailbag questions on Wednesday, so get them in. You can email us at lockedonflyers@gmail.com, send us a message on Twitter, or comment on our YouTube channel. And we're also going to do a big what if show. So a lot of like sliding doors scenarios for the
Yeah.
Flyers. Should be a lot of fun. So getting back to our branding and merch discussion we're having here, talking about reactionary branding, I think this is actually something that the Flyers have done really well. It's just that they haven't been in the playoffs to do it. And we know that the Flyers traditionally have handed out orange T-shirts to the fans at playoff games, and they had this like amazing turnaround time. And we know that they've made ones like the Stay Classy Philly with
Yeah.
Lou Nolan on
That's
it.
a great one.
They did one when it was Peter Laviolette up on the bench pointing at the Pens bench
Yeah.
during during the playoff series. They have been able to take moments and capture them, put them on a shirt, and hand them out at the next playoff game. And I missed that because of the Flyers not being in the playoffs, and
Right.
last time they were, it was in the bubble, so we didn't have that. So
No.
it was real tough. And other examples around the league, you had the bunch of jerks t-shirts from Carolina. There have been instances
You
like
know,
this where teams have taken that on and like turned it into something.
I can't remember what the circumstance was, but the Devils had that hat that just said hat, and I
Oh yeah,
forgot.
I own one. I
Yeah, but
100% own one of those hats.
and I
I
forget
can tell
why
you why.
somebody. Yeah, go ahead. That
Because
refresh
they
us.
made those third jerseys that just said Jersey on them. So I
Right.
believe it was Greg Wyshynski, but I correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe it was him who said, "What are you going to do? Just make hats that say hat on them?" And then they
And they
did,
did,
right?
which is awesome.
And the proceeds went to charity, and that's why I bought it. And people
Right.
ask about it when I wear it all the
Right.
time. You can't even really see the Devils logo on it, so
No,
nobody
but
knows
it's
it's,
awesome.
but like it's really, really cool. But and it was limited edition. So, I'm a sucker
Yeah.
for those sort of things. But yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I wish maybe the Flyers could do a little bit more,
Well, I'll tell you one that
right?
they could do. They could do like a caricature kind of shirt with like Nick Delorier and the champ, and having him, have some sort of belt around
Yeah.
him, because he's the champ. Nobody's beaten him in a fight last year, right? He was on. Then we say in the previous show he was undefeated. So you could put like the undisputed champ. Like, I think people would buy that.
I think so too. And I think that's part of like a hockey issue, right? Where it's more
Yes,
about the team than the individual. But they
right.
got to start selling
You
individuals
do. I mean, you
a little
gotta take
more.
advantage. Absolutely.
So I think that there are opportunities for things like this, and the Flyers and other teams have taken advantage of it sometimes, but not all the
I'll
time.
tell you a good one that an outside place did. Is a place called Ice Teas. They made a building, the Rempire State Building. That's pretty good. I mean, give them credit, man.
Yeah,
That's we see things like that around, and that's the kind of stuff that sells.
right. And that's where teams can get more into doing collabs with
Yes,
other brands and smaller
yes,
brands, because it also like look to smaller brands around your community and help
yep,
elevate them
yep,
by doing these collabs with these specialty moment or player infused branding. I think
yep.
there's just some real good opportunity for that there, which kind of is a good segue into more fan and small business design, right? So there's lots of people obviously that have made a living with their own small brands and small businesses that they sell on Etsy or like other sites like that, and it allows like more creativity to shine. And there's like copyright infringement fuzzy areas here,
There
but
are, but like
um
whatever. I mean, until it's shut down, we're not the judge. We're just telling you it's out there and
yeah.
it's for sale. I saw a few cool things. I saw a place called Vinylize had vinyl earrings that were blue and orange, and you could put the team, a number of the player of the team on it, and had hockey sticks. So clearly, that's like for the Islanders. And I think an Islanders fan would definitely wear that. I also saw like an old, like, I don't know if you remember knock hockey. This was sort
Oh,
of like, it looked
listen.
okay. So it looked
We
like
could,
that. It looked
uh-huh.
like that. It wasn't exactly like that, and it's like a crafted like tabletop, um, hockey board, and had a team name on it, and that was a place. I forget the name of the place. Just search that. But then there was also a place that you could do hockey player dog portrait custom pet paintings, and so they showed
So
like a
with your dog.
with your dog, and they showed a picture like with a dog in a Minnesota Wild jersey, and they showed a dog in like a Rangers, and I think like a Devils. It's pretty awesome. I have to admit,
Oh my god.
I I had some thoughts in my head about that. So that's a cool thing to do too. So those are ideas that, and I'm sure people have bought them and like that.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. And there's a lot of upcycling right now is
Yeah.
really big, where you take like old stuff that people get at a thrift store or whatever, and they change it into something else. Turn an old sweatshirt into a crop T-shirt or
Yes.
something like that. Like I love that kind of stuff, and
Oh, it's
it's
definitely
just
great, especially if you've gotten maybe too fat for your favorite hoodie or something.
okay.
But you could give it new life. That's the point. You
It's
could take
true.
that logo off
It's
of
true.
that, and yeah, so like, we've all been
Yeah.
there.
Well, and there's like the thing that's been around for forever where you take t-shirts and you turn them into like a throw blanket, right?
Right.
You send them off and somebody turns them
Yeah.
into a blanket or something. So
But I got to
yeah,
tell you the
that
best of all of them. The best of all of them that
mhm.
I found, there's just a guy, and it's sold at New York's goalie, at New York's goalie. And it is basically a stormtrooper hockey jersey. And it's done in like Vegas Golden Knights colors. And like they've got the stormtroopers on each arm. And I got to tell you, on the front, it says troopers. I mean, it's amazing. That's good. Like back in the day, I had a
Well, there's a
Sopranos
whole
hockey.
company that does that called Geeky Jerseys, and they have
Yeah.
like dozens and dozens of like pop culture
Yeah. I
inspired
had a Sopranos jersey for a
jerseys.
while. A friend bought me that. That was kind of cool. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but this is Troopers, and it's just like that's a really good. And look, teams have done collaborations. The Hershey Bears did one with Star Wars, where you get the Bears logo and the Star Wars logo. That's nice too.
yeah, I kind of hesitate at stuff like that because I feel like that's definitely a minor league thing. And I wouldn't necessarily want to bring kind of the minor league experience as much. I know like the Flyers do have a Star Wars night, but like the Flyers don't wear Star Wars jerseys. I feel like
That's fair.
that's
No, and you might
the
be right. I'm
line
just
in the
saying
sand to me.
I'm not saying the Flyers should do it. I'm just saying I kind of like when it's done.
Yeah, I just like it at the minor league level. Like,
Yeah, that's
let's
fine.
let's keep it there.
Okay.
But I do think that given all this creativity, there's opportunities again for teams to partner with and uplift these kind of designers and small business people to make something more official. And I think that's something they should do because it would add more variety
Yep.
into what they offer, and it's good for the community. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
They all have team
Maybe,
stores. You know, all these teams have team stores. Fill them up, man.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, it is Monday, so of course we will have a new listener poll related to our discussion we just had, as well as our new nemesis of the week. We'll do that coming up next. All right. So, our listener poll this week related to the conversation we just had. We want to see what you think about all of this and what the Flyers do related to their merch and all of that. So, we're asking what you think of the Flyers branding and merchandise availability in general. Do you think it's A, spot on with the brand and tradition, B, too conservative, C, too out there, and D, throw it all away and start over? So those will be your
I like it.
options. Link in the show notes to that poll. It's over on our YouTube channel, and we will discuss it on Friday. Moving over to our nemesis of the week. Last week, I talked about the overwhelmingness of having to plan September related to rookie camp and training camp. We talked on our show on Friday about the lack of a rookie tournament for the Flyers, and that is part of it. You talked about too many sequels and remakes in movies, and that was a very spirited discussion, and I
I
loved
bet.
having it. A lot of listeners agreed with you on that
Oh,
front
see, thank
in
you.
the comments. Yeah, yeah,
That's what I meant
it
when I
was
said I
good.
bet, not for us, but online. That's good. I'm glad that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was really fun. I mentioned the Locked On NHL show, and on the Friday show this past week, myself and Gil Martin from Locked On Islanders were the ones that co-host the Friday show. We talked about a too early prediction for the Calder was our topic of the show, and a lot of the early discussions out there, Matt Mitchkoff included in that conversation, and so my nemesis this week is being realistic about those Mitchkoff projections and as it relates to the Calder, because I dug into some numbers for all of this and looking at the previous Calder winners, right? The average age of a Calder winner for the past 15 years is 20.13 years. I did the math. And if you look at the Russians that have come over, and won the Calder. It is Kirill Kaprizov at age 24 and Artemi Panarin at age 24. No other Russians
No.
came over in the last 15 years at a younger age and were able to win the Calder. And
Right.
I think that like he's going to have a good season. I'm excited for Matvei Michkov, but like let's like pump the brakes with the Calder talk a little bit because there is a lot of adjusting that has to take place, and he's doing it at a younger age. So, you know, I think it's fair to have certain expectations of him. I just think like too many outside people, and this is again related to our show we had last Wednesday,
Yes.
you know, analyzing his game. Let's be real about this. Let's be supportive of Matvei Michkov. Let's be excited about Matvei Michkov, but let's not put this Calder burden on him.
Yeah. What this reminds me of is like Ovechkin won it in 06, 05,
Mhm.
06 after the lockout, right? And he got 98% of the vote. Crosby got 64% of the vote, and then Phaneuf was third and Lundqvist fourth. Now, Crosby is an all-around better player,
Mhm.
but a lot of times those great all-around better players don't win the Calder in their first year, many times. So
Yeah.
that's why I back up everything that you say. And look, obviously Ovechkin's great, but I'm just using him as an example. Like, hey, he beat out Crosby, but in the end, Crosby's the better player. So it's like it happens. Don't get it's not that big of a deal.
So another interesting fun fact: there's no goalies that have won the Calder since Steve Mason in 2008, 2009. So I thought that was
And
interesting.
I think a few have gotten close over the years. I know because I vote, so I know a few have gotten
Right.
close. But yeah, that's interesting. All right, so here's mine: the IOC. Shame on you for stripping Jordan Childs of a medal
Oh,
that she
I
was
knew where this
holding,
was going.
that she was holding, that she was presented, that she took pictures with, and then all of a sudden, like Romanians are complaining, blah blah blah. And the thing about it is, they're saying that they got in when she got reinstated, because I guess her score wasn't high enough, when they did it 4 seconds too late as for what the rules say. Supposed to only be able to do a minute. And here's my thing: if you didn't catch that as a governing body when you gave out the medal, you don't touch that after. That is baloney, babyish way of handling it by Romania. Meanwhile, she's no longer online. Charles is, like she said, for her mental health, she had to get off online because people were just slinging insults. It got
Yeah.
ugly. This is really affecting her, and I don't think the IOC really cares. And I care because I just don't think that's good sportsmanship. I don't.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's a mistake that was made by the judges, right? So
Right,
it wasn't even like a debatable thing. It was a actual mistake on the degree of difficulty of the thing she did.
right,
The US team noticed it and put in the appeal. The appeal was granted. Like even the Romanians said both of them should get the bronze. And the US and the Romanians agreed that both of them could have a bronze medal and everything would be
right.
fine. And then the governing body was like, "Nope, sorry, she's got to return the medal." Terrible.
Terrible. Like, it's just
Terrible.
such a bad look, and it puts such a bad taste in my mouth for that process. Because yeah, I think having two bronzes is a good is one solution for sure. But again, like, there is no videotape for looking at the clock for correcting an error. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you're the leg,
Yeah, it
the
wasn't
leg.
like they did it the next day. It
No,
was
it's 4
literally on the
seconds.
spot.
Like,
Yeah.
who had the clock running, or who went back and looked at the videotape to realize that it was 4 seconds after, and looked in the rule book and saw that it was 1 minute? Like, come on. Are we really turning into that society? Because that's not the one. I just don't think, for sports, bad sportsmanship. It just showed bad sportsmanship by the
Yeah.
IOC. I don't love what Romania did, but at least Romania came up with a solution that I didn't see online. So that's good. But still.
I would hold on to it for the rest of my life and say I lost it. Anyway,
I like that.
That will do it for today's show. Wednesday on the show, we're going to do those fun sliding doors what if scenarios for the Flyers, plus answer your mailbag questions. So make sure to get those in on Twitter at Locked On Flyers. You can email us at lockedonflyers@gmail or comment over on our YouTube channel. I'm Rachel. I'm on Twitter at rmiriam. That's RMIRIAM.
I'm Russ. I'm at Sportsology, SPORTSOLOGY.
Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube that's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Have a great day, everyone.